short track race in the entire storied history of the International Race of Champions. 12 highly decorated drivers from 7 different series took the green flag in Daytona for Crown Royal IROC 29. Late race, Scott Pruitt and Sebastian Bourdais knocked out of the race. Mark Martin, number 6, uses his restart savvy to power past Matt Kenseth and into the IROC record books with his 12th career win. To Texas, where Bourdais, last in Daytona, started first in his number 2. As usual, sheet metal met both concrete and opponent. Kurt Busch leading, loses a tire, slams the wall, and Bourdais takes advantage. The young Frenchman making a huge connection with the Texas crowd. He now trails Mark Martin by just 10 points, and we go short tracking at Richmond next. Speed Channel welcomes you to Richmond, Virginia. Nice crowd on hand for tonight's doubleheader. The Crown Royal IROC Series followed by the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, all live and right here on Speed. The point standings after 2 races look like this, and the drivers will start inverse of their point standing position. Mark Martin leading Sebastian Bourdais by 10 markers. Martin Truex Jr., Buddy Rice, Matt Kenseth tied there for 4th, and Bobby Hamilton in the 6th spot. The rest of this dozen looks like this, with drivers looking to rebound in this, the 3rd of 4 races of Crown Royal IROC 29. Engines are fired. We're ready to race. Earlier, Matt Yoakum was standing at the back of the grid.
Mike, back in the final row, the top 2 drivers in the championship standings, Mark Martin and Sebastian Bourdais. Mark, 6 NASCAR wins here, but how difficult to win from the final row?
Oh, man, there's so much talent in this race, and, you know, everybody has basically the same cars, so it'll be really interesting. It's going to be fun to see. I'm glad the race is as long as it is, because I think it's going to take some time to move up from where we're starting.
Mark won at Daytona. Now the Texas winner, Sebastian Bourdais. You've got the veteran alongside. You acclimated yourself so well to Texas, going to victory lane. What have you done here to help yourself get to victory lane?
I watched the tape about 100 times from last year's race. I tested Monday, Tuesday, and went pretty well. I mean, speed-wise, it was all right. Then after racing, the pack is a bit different. I have to learn a lot of things, so I'm just hoping to be able to follow Mark and to show me the way. A
lot of testing here. Has that helped?
I mean, not a whole lot, because yesterday I was testing the new NASCAR, the McDonald's car in Kershaw in South Carolina. But, you know, I got the best out of it, and we'll see if it's good enough.
You going to duck alongside this guy over here?
If I can just tuck in behind him, I'd be plenty happy with that.
Well, he's going to try to duck inside this guy. He's going to try to follow you.
Yeah, I think he's being modest. You know, it's going to be wild. It's 12 really great drivers out here, so you just have to wait and see what happens.
114 IROC races, 11 times, Mike. A race has been won from the back row. He's done it 3.
Could happen again tonight. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond with you once again for only the 2nd short track race in IROC history. We came here last year, Larry, with high hopes, great expectations. And Matt Kenseth ran off and stunk up the show. How is this going to be different?
Yeah, Mike, it was pretty much a Matt Kenseth benefit race. But Jay Signor, he came in here this past week with 3 test drivers, and they ran over 3,000 laps of practice to try to make these cars drive better. They made significant chassis changes, plus they made some subtle aero changes, like a wicker, a gurney lip right there on the left front. Really plants that left front and helps the car to turn. But I think the biggest thing, based on what we've seen in practice this week, is the fact that the track has another year on the surface, and we've seen a lot of side-by-side racing, and I think we're going to see a lot of passing because of that 2nd groove.
All right, we've got 2 grooves to race on, so Jeff, give us 2 drivers to watch in these first 60 laps.
Early on, Mike, I think you got to be looking at row number 2. Elio Castroneves starting 3rd along with Kurt Busch. These 2 guys, they know how to get it done up here. Former IROC champion in Kurt Busch, and Elio, he actually won an IRL race here earlier in June. I believe early challenges and early battles are going to come from right here on row 2.
There is Kurt Busch getting ready to race. Got knocked out of the lead in Texas, looking to bounce back in the points here at Richmond. Getting ready to IROC and roll in Richmond.
Racing is everything, especially when drinking. Crown Royal.
And now we're on just a brief hold. One driver, Martin Truex Jr., taking a little bit of extra time to get settled in and strapped into his car. As soon as he's ready, we'll be ready to go. Last time we saw you was April back in Texas. Here's what's happened since then. Mark Martin won the Nextel All-Star Challenge. Kurt Busch 2 wins, Matt Kenseth the win.
And all 3 of those drivers are past IROC champions to boot.
And all 3 of them are right at this point in time are up in the chase, race for the chase in the Nextel Cup.
I thought you were going to say at this point in time they all drive for Jack Roush, which is also true.
Yeah.
They're not the only ones who've had success. Martin Truex has 5 wins in the Busch Series. Steve Kinser, since April, has won 18 World of Outlaws sprint car events. And Sebastian Bourdais in Champ Car, 3 victories. They all lead the point standings.
And what I like about the lineup this year, Mike, is normally it's saturated with Nextel Cup drivers. We only have 3 in it this year. We have a lot of those open wheel guys and a lot of those World of Outlaw guys like Steve Kinser here.
Yeah, there's the eyes of a champion. What, 19-time titleist.
19-time, and he's also up on the front row, guys. So he's got a pretty good view of what it's going to take to get down into turn 1.
Over 500 feature wins in his career.
He will share the front row with Scott Pruitt, co-champion of the Rolex Sports Car Series. Row 2, everybody carrying their traditional numbers and colors with which they're identified. Kurt Busch from Nextel Cup, Helio Castroneves from IndyCar, Max Pappas from the Rolex Sports Car Series, and World of Outlaws Danny Lasowski. Matt Kenseth, former IROC champ and Nextel Cup champ, and Bobby Hamilton, defending champ in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Martin Truex Jr., last year's NASCAR Busch Series titleist, and Buddy Rice, last year's Indy 500 champion. Mark Martin, the all-time IROC race winner and co-tied for the lead in championships, along with Champ Car World Series defending champ Sebastian Bourdais. That's Mark Martin getting set to go from the back row.
That should be a pretty good view right there, because you know how Mark's going to do. He's going to kind of size everything up, and he'll be coming to the front as fast as he can.
And right alongside Sebastian Bourdais. This is no PlayStation game.
First time he's ever been on a track smaller than 1 mile.
Yikes. Bobby Hamilton, double duty tonight. Coming up next on Speed, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And there's Helio Castroneves with our 4th onboard camera starting in row 2. Little pre-race strategy discussion went on. Matt?
Mike, the drivers on the inside of rows 1, 2, and 3, Pruitt, Castroneves, and Danny Lasowski, got together, came up with a plan. They're going to stick together, not jump out of line, to try to keep NASCAR champion Kurt Busch on the outside. They feel like a great chance at the beginning of this race until it settles in. Keep the NASCAR drivers either on the outside lane or behind them so they can try to settle in, but that's a tough task.
Yeah, let me think. Has that strategy ever worked in IROC?
It has not.
No.
It'll work till they take the green flag.
Well, it's getting ready to come that way, guys. We're going to know here in just a few more seconds how that plan's going to play out.
Pruitt and Kinser on the front row. No passing till after the start-finish line on the initial start of the race. And they are 2 by 6 all the way down into turn 1.
There it is right there, though. Steve Kinser, we talked about the second groove. He may win this drag race down the backstretch off into turn 3. And he will. He'll take the lead through 3 and 4. Now he'll try to get down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Get down in front of Scott Pruitt right there, but watch the outside groove. Here comes Kurt Busch on the outside. Everybody's worried about trying to keep him boxed in. Well, they forgot about the outside lane.
3 wide into turn 1. Strategy, schmategy.
Oh, a little boot in the back end right there by Kurt Busch on Steve Kinser.
Helio Castroneves trying the inside. He's going to take second away from Kurt Busch. This strategy thing may have something to it.
I think what happened, Steve Kinser had to get out of the gas over there. They're 3 wide here, completing lap 2 going off into turn 1. Kurt Busch in the 97 car has that high groove coming off too, just like Steve Kinser did earlier. He'll win the drag race.
Castroneves' car looked loose going into that corner.
Mike, when you pinch one down that low, get in that corner, you'd like to really kind of arc it off in there. That kind of hurt him a little bit. Let's see if he can get up behind Kurt Busch and maybe kind of run him back down.
Boy, Pruitt's got a pack of snarling IROC racers right behind. Contact, and Hamilton gets around off the bumper of Kinzer. Truex piles in.
Collects Matt Kenseth, the 17 car. Caution is out. Now, caution laps do not count in IROC.
Well, Bobby Hamilton he happened to be the recipient of 12 wheels corner better than 4. I don't know, getting in there 3 wide is a tall order. There's not a lot of room for error.
Got some damage right there on the left front of Bobby Hamilton.
There you see Bobby Hamilton in the 4 car. 3 wide there, the 15 car. That's Buddy Rice.
And Rice actually pushes Steve Kinzer, the green and white car, up into Hamilton.
Mike, you know what you call that? Short track racing.
Oh, I thought you called it 3 into 1 doesn't go.
And Kenseth tried to come down. Remember, they don't use spotters. It's all pretty much their seat of the pants right there. And Truex in the 8 car was there.
Pruitt gets a little bump there. No foul. And there goes Hamilton. Ooh.
It's a look from our points leader, Mark Martin, in the 6 car.
And on pit road comes Bobby Hamilton. Here's Matt.
Mike Hamilton has pulled his car behind the wall. It is leaking water. That crash has KO'd the radiator. Meanwhile, Matt Kenseth on pit road. Now that wicker bill that Jeff and Larry talk so much about, the importance of it, it is broken on Kenseth's left front. Meanwhile, Martin Truex Jr., he's pulling off pit road. Just small cosmetic damage to that right front corner.
It just looks like Bobby Hamilton has a lot more problems than that wicker bill, though.
Truex will go back out and rejoin the tail end of the field. Again, caution laps do not count. And a little more repair on the right front of Matt Kenseth. Now, note the tires and the banding on them. Jay Signori explained it's like seamanship. Red right return, green right going, red right return. So, Jeff?
What we're looking at there is to make sure that is the band indicating that's a right rear. The color is pink. When you go to the left side, the left rear will have a single band also, but it will be a lime green color. Again, to be able to identify left from right. There's a left side tire with the green band around it, a rear tire. If you have double bands on it, Mike, that means it's a front tire.
And why they do this?
And the reason they did this, we saw the crash of Kurt Busch at Texas earlier in the show. They got a left front on the right front, and the reason they've done this, well, I like what Jay Signor did here, Mike and Jeff and Matt, is they didn't try to figure out whose fault it was. They fixed the system. They made it bulletproof pretty much with the bands.
So there you see the green striped left side tires getting ready to be mounted for Matt Kenseth. He'll get back on track, and so will we.
America.
With items to go down toward Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi.
We took some also some products down to the Charlotte Coliseum where some of the evacuees were being held and helped out. And the Red Cross is doing a tremendous job, Mike, as we get ready to go back green. If you'll notice, hey, Kurt Busch is on the outside line while Kinzer took the inside.
But we've seen that outside line work, especially right after a restart of the start of the race. It's like you can keep your momentum, especially on a restart through 1 and 2. There you see Kurt Busch up in that second groove, gets good bite, and he'll win the drag race down the backstretch over Steve Kinzer.
Max Pappas said earlier, or actually it was Matt Kenseth who told me earlier, that these cars don't have a lot of power. You get down the end of the straightaway and you got to lift so early to get in the corner. Very different kind of drive style than what he's used to. And Max Pappas said these cars are completely different from what he drives. Kenseth's got a tire rub on the left front.
Remember, he was involved in that wreck a while ago.
There's a look at it.
And it looks like it's only doing it under braking, guys, as he enters the corners on both turn 3 as well as 1.
Riding with Sebastian Bourdais. Boy, Kenseth getting squeezed up in the outside wall coming off turn 4 on the front stretch.
Yeah, Max Pappas didn't leave him a whole lot of room up there.
But you're right, Jeff, on Kenseth's car, the 17 car, it's rubbing when the car is at the most travel, when he goes off in the corner.
Buddy Rice, who caused that initial caution by getting up and into Matt Kenseth, now battling alongside Scott Pruitt.
Battle for 4th. Riding with our points leader, Mark Martin, in the 6 car. He's moved up to the 6th position. He's halfway through the field now. Still a long way to go.
Very patiently, just kind of stalking everybody, keeping his car right on the bottom of the racetrack. And Mark told me earlier today, guys, he really didn't care what happens on the outside. He wants to stay on the bottom of this racetrack.
But I'm going to tell you what, while these guys are going side-by-side racing, Kurt Busch in the 97 car, he's pulled out to almost a 2-second lead. And just remember, at lap 60, we're going to have that competition caution. But what's important is there's a lot of bonus points paid for leading the most laps. And, boy, when you're talking about as few points as these IROC races pay, those lap points can mean a lot.
And Busch, who is giving the field the goodbye look, he's on a mission after getting knocked out of Texas while leading due to that tire problem. Matt?
And Mike, and that was the strategy for Matt Kenseth last year. He had the 2nd most bonus points and pulled off the championship in the season finale on a big way by winning the race, as well as scoring all those bonus points.
Well, right now, you take a look at Matt Kenseth. He had that, got involved in that damage early on, but he'll have an opportunity to bring that car back down pit road later on and get that fender pulled off of there when they change his tires the 2nd time.
And remember, Kenseth comes in here 4th in the points, 16 points behind Mark Martin.
I keep watching this double wide battle here, Buddy Rice and Scott Pruitt, and they're really doing a good job of giving each other just enough room and very mindful of who is filling up their mirror, and that's Mark Martin.
And just remember, Scott Pruitt, he came into this race 12th in points because he had crashes at Daytona and Texas in the 01 car.
And Larry Mack, you said early on in the broadcast, we would see that 2nd group. We could see some side-by-side racing. Well, it's back a little ways in the pack, but these guys are definitely door handle to door handle.
And Mark Martin, he's in a box behind these guys because we've already seen you can't go 3 wide. So it's like, okay, guys, will somebody pass someone here where I can make a move?
Well, one thing that makes this very difficult, Larry, is there are no spotters in IROC racing. So the drivers must depend on their limited peripheral vision and, of course, what they can hear of that car alongside them. And you have to clear yourself.
Which is what didn't happen in that wreck down in turn 1 and 2 a while ago.
And they have caught Steve Kinzer in the 11.
And this could be exactly what Mark Martin's looking for. But guys, just don't forget, the guy driving that number 6 car has got how many IROC wins by being patient, being smart?
12. Not to mention 4 championships.
I think he knows what he's doing here.
But now that knot is 5 cars deep because Martin Truex and Matt Kenseth have caught that group. Kurt Busch is the leader. Helio Castroneves is 2nd. Steve Kinzer is trying to hold off the advances of Scott Pruitt and Buddy Rice. Saturday on Speed, a special edition of NASCAR this morning to get you fired up for one of the most important races of the Nextel Cup season. Your NASCAR pre-race action starts with a special edition of NASCAR this morning, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, live and only on Speed. Jimmy Spencer will explain it all to you.
That ought to be interesting.
You know why? Because Mongo never forgets.
Same leader, Kurt Busch, Helio Castroneves, but a new 3rd-place car, and here's why. They got log jammed up coming out of turn number 2.
Steve Kinzer got a little bit loose, and when he did, he jumped up the racetrack, and Buddy Rice dove underneath.
And they opened that door for Mark Martin, and he ran through it in a hurry. It's almost like Kurt Busch, our leader in the 97 car. He's watching Helio Castroneves in the 03, who's running in 2nd. And right now, Kurt Busch, with this first segment being about a 1/3 of the way through at 21 laps, it's like he's just maintaining. He's only running as fast as he needs to, saving those tires in case we get a caution and they get bunched back up.
Well, we're on board right now with Helio Castroneves in the 03 car. Let's take a look, see what he looks like inside the race car. Looks like he's pretty smooth, guys. He's holding a pretty wheel.
And he and Kurt Busch are running laps within a 1/10 of a second of one another, so not a lot of change in the gap. It's 1.2 seconds.
All right, we talked about no spotters, but this is their best friend right here. You see that little spot mirror right there. I guarantee you they're looking at that as much as they are the regular rearview mirror up inside the car.
Mark Martin in blue and white, number 6. Closing in.
And Mike, now that he's in clear traffic, he's beating Kurt Busch by about 0.2 of a second a lap.
really running them down that last lap, man. He really reeled in quite a bit of real estate on the boys.
Buddy Rice holding fourth. Martin Truex is fifth. Pruitt sixth. Kenseth, Kinser, Bourdais, Lasowski, and Pappas. Bobby Hamilton, after retiring his car, left to go to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series garage to prepare for that race, which is coming up next here on Speed.
I'm going to tell you what, Martin Truex Jr. in 8 car, nice recovery. He's moved back up to 5th. Remember, he was involved in that wreck. He came in here 3rd in points, only 13 points behind Mark Martin.
Busch now 1.4 seconds up on Castroneves. A change back at 8th, where Bourdais has passed Kinser.
You know, we've talked a lot about Sebastien Bourdais. Started back on that back row with Mark Martin, but he's just not made a lot of ground. He's moved up to the 8th position. I talked to Jay Sauter and Jim Sauter and Dave Marcus when they started working with him earlier in the week. Remember, he'd never been on a racetrack this size. They said he picked up on the racetrack real quickly, but I know talking to Sebastien, he was a little concerned about racing on a racetrack he'd never been on.
But by himself like this, Larry, running time trial laps, his laps are within 1/10 of a second of Kurt Busch's. I mean, it's a fellow who has adapted very, very quickly. And in USA Today, in Thursday's edition, he said, I'd like somebody to give me a chance, see what I could do in a stock car.
He was actually talking to Mark Martin today in a conversation in the garage area about that exact situation, Mike. And he also told us, he said, when they drop the green flag, if I can go with Mark Martin, so be it. But I've got 60 laps in this first segment to get myself into a rhythm, and that's exactly what he's wanting to work on, Matt.
And Jeff, I said, yeah, it'd be nice if a Nextel Cup team took notice and gave him a test. And Mark says, I believe Texas, he had his test. Brushed the wall just a moment ago, but he said at Texas, he had his test, and I believe he passed with flying colors.
And Matt, he captured every bonus point you could capture in winning that race at Texas.
Well, let's see. Mark's looking to retire, needs a driver for next year. Bourdais is looking to drive a stock car. I don't know. Kismet?
Sounds like it might could work.
Sounds like opportunity to me.
Kurt Busch and Helio Castroneves 1.5 seconds apart. Here's the 3rd place car of Mark Martin. He's 2 seconds back. It's another half second to Buddy Rice, and then Martin Truex Jr. now 5th.
10 years rockin'. 10.
Welcome back to round 3 of 4 in Crown Royal IROC 29. We're at Richmond International Raceway for this series' only 2nd ever short track race. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond, and Matt Yoakum with you. There's Kurt Busch, the leader. Helio Castroneves is 2nd. Mark Martin is 3rd, 2.5 seconds back. Buddy Rice had been closing on Mark, but Mark just turned the wick up and ran his fastest lap of the race so far the last time by.
But you're right, up until about a lap ago, Buddy Rice in the 15 car had been catching Mark Martin in the 6.
A look ahead at Castroneves, and off in the distance, Kurt Busch.
And Mike and Larry, when we talk about that 3rd position that Buddy Rice is trying to run Mark Martin down 4, that's the cutoff for the bonus as far as leading laps and how you finish in his first segment. So I think if he ever gets up there, I don't think Mark's going to give up that position very easily.
Scott Pruitt here in the 01 car. He's in the 6th position. Matt Kenseth right behind him in the 17, trying to run Scott Pruitt down.
And Larry, we were talking during break that the racetrack appears to be cooling down because the times are getting faster. Helio Castroneves running 2nd. He just ran his fastest lap on lap 38.
And that is the fastest lap of the night so far, 23:25. And it comes on lap 38. Next time by, it'll be 20 laps to the competition yellow. No fuel will be added, but all 4 tires will be changed. Slight air pressure adjustment, and it will be the same for all cars to maintain the equality that is the hallmark of the IROC series.
Yeah, what's going to be odd about that pit stop, Mike, and you said it, no fuel, just tires. And very rarely do you ever put 4 fresh tires on and not dump fuel in as well. So it's going to change the handling of the cars with the 4 fresh tires. So they're making a slight air pressure adjustment, the same across the board, to compensate for that.
Sebastian Bourdais, whose best lap is only 2/10 off of Castroneves' class leading best lap, but he finds himself in 8th place after starting 11th.
But I think when you look at this, you can run, but you can't hide on this racetrack because of the fact we know we're going to get a caution flag here shortly, and all these drivers will be bunched back up. And Larry, you've already talked about the fresh tires and a little bit of air pressure adjustment. So now that's when the challenge is really going to become huge, because these champions are going to be challenged one more time to be able to try to make that adjustment to the fresher tires and the fuel displacement. And
these drivers know they only have to go half the distance in 30 laps instead of 60.
Get up on that wheel.
Helio Castroneves now 1.36 seconds behind Kurt Busch.
Helio won the IndyCar race here in June. Now they're running around here right now in the mid-23s. He was running around here in that IRL car at 15 seconds at this 3/4 mile racetrack.
Yikes. He's having so much fun in this series. I mean, you go to the drivers' meeting, and there's always one, I don't want to say class clown, but let's say one spark plug in the meeting. One fellow that's laughing, joking, having a great time. That's the one.
And Helio, he pretty much has got to do the Hail Mary in these last 2 races, because he comes in here 10th in the points, 28 points behind our leader, Mark Martin. So he needs this kind of a run tonight.
Well, right now, he is really starting to gain on our leader right now, Kurt Busch. And we watched the battle for 3rd place right now between Buddy Rice and Mark Martin, and that's clearly the best battle on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, Mark's car has fallen off. He's now running in the high 2350s. Buddy Rice is right on 2350, so just about a 1/10 of a second separate them, and that's a lot between these very equally matched race cars that Dave Marcus, Jim Sauter, and Jay Sauter have put hundreds of laps on in testing to, again, make sure the cars are as equally matched as possible.
And when I look at the score and monitor, the times that we see, obviously they have done a well of a job at that. These cars are definitely starting to slide around. Now they're running last year's Nextel Cup tire. It's not the new generation of tire that's a lot softer and gives up, but trust me, here 47 laps in this run, these cars are definitely starting to slide around.
Probably the driver with the biggest adaptation to make here at Richmond is Max Pappas. He told me this afternoon that his Rolex sports car racer, when you go off into a corner, and he says in radius the turn in here is much like turn 1 at Watkins Glen. And he says there, Max says, you jump on the brake and the car turns in. Here, you jump on the brake and the car slides up the racetrack, completely opposite to what he's used to.
But Mike, I talked to him and I said, now Max, have you ever been to Richmond? He says, no, but you can't imagine how many races I've raced my 9-year-old nephew on a PlayStation using the Richmond track.
Here's Matt.
Mike, on the grid before the race, Max Pappas, one of the most humorous personalities in all of racing, walked up, extended his hand to shake Mark Martin's. When they started to shake, he dropped to one knee and said, Maestro, my plan tonight, 60 laps of learning, then 30 laps of racing. Mark said, you got it right. You stick to it.
So far, so good for Max.
We talk about Max Pappas. We talk about Helio Castroneves and the personality there. Daniel Osowski is another personality. This whole field has got personality with, I mean, just a professionalism like no other. I mean, these guys are having so much fun out here racing against one another. Martin Truex talked about, as we look at him in the 8 car, about how much of an honor it was to be in this field this year to race against these legends.
You know, the biggest thing Max Pappas has to do is he's got to try to stay on this lead lap, and he only has 9 laps to do that, Mike.
We'll see if he can hold on to a lead lap position after this. 57 laps complete this time by, and Kurt Busch is going to put a lap on Mad Max Pappas.
And Helio Castroneves, for a moment in the 03 car, was loving that because Max Pappas, trying to stay on the lead lap, was holding our leader Kurt Busch up with 3 laps to go in this segment.
Helio is still charging, Larry. I'm telling you, he's coming hard and fast. He'd love to be able to nip Mr. Kurt Busch here over the next couple laps and be able to garnish all those bonus points.
The way they stand, Kurt would get 3, Elio 2, and Mark 1 for their positions at the time of the competition yellow.
And I would almost have to believe that Kurt Busch has probably already locked up the lap leader bonus by leading the most laps, which is another 5 points.
Well, he needs them, Larry. As we said, he's trying to avenge that defeat in Texas when a wrong side tire got put, a left side tire got put on his right front, and the car crashed out of the lead and dropped him way back in the Crown Royal IROC points.
But the payoff was where he was able to start this race by being that far back in points.
In essence, what he's attempting to do is trying to have basically a Sebastian Bourdais type race where he could possibly pick up as much as 29 points as the caution's out.
60 laps complete. Busch, Castroneves, and Mark Martin bank the bonus points. Interestingly, there's no individual purse for this race tonight. All the money goes into the point standings. At the end of the rainbow, the champion of Crown Royal IROC 29 gets $1 million.
In 2nd through 12th is $80,000
each. Thank you for playing.
But now this is interesting right here because we can't iterate enough. The 11 drivers that are out there, no matter what their car is doing, how it's driving, all they're going to get is 4 tires with the same air pressure that all the other drivers are going to get. No chassis adjustments. Oh, by the way, they'll get a drink of water.
That'd be nice.
And Larry, if you also notice when they roll the tires out, you can see which car was going to get what set of tires. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. They're all marked, so you know exactly which guys are going to get what tires in order.
So that's not car number, that's the order in which the cars come into the pit. Everything is pretty random in IROC, including which mechanics work on which car.
Yeah, they bring a dozen mechanics here, and about 2 days before the race, the mechanics draw a ball out of a bucket, and that pretty much is the car that they work on for the remainder of the weekend here.
And that's just one mechanic per car. Very talented group that Jason Norrie and his team have assembled to come work on these IROC cars.
So with 2 active pits, Kurt Busch and Elio Castroneves will get serviced first, and everyone else will wait their turn.
See the teams go to work. As we said, they'll change 4 tires, give the driver a drink of water, make sure the service is complete. They're cleaning the grills. Tire changes come around the left side just like on a standard stock car pit stop we see every Saturday night or Sunday night.
There's no real immediacy to this because the field is frozen until things line back up. So 2x2. Service continues. So in the first 60 laps, action aplenty. Bobby Hamilton gets spun, and actually it was Martin Truex that squeezed up into Matt Kenseth, causing damage there. So Hamilton's out of the race. Busch leads after the first of 2 segments. Let's see. He may well know something we don't. Is there fence climbing in the evening? Let's see.
He laid back quite a bit on that restart, though. I just think he gave up an opportunity right there as much as he laid back and maybe opened the door for Mark Martin in the 6th car trying to go to 2nd position. He'll take it away from Castroneves.
They may have touched trouble for Max Pappas. Climbs the hill, turn 2, gathers it back in.
You know what? I'm going to anticipate here is possibly Elio was going back to the old rules where the leader was on the front row by himself.
Right there, Larry. Steve Kinser's around.
Caution is out. Now, this will put Mark Martin on the front row with Kurt Busch on this restart.
Well, let's see what happened to Steve Kinser here as he spins out of 9th place. Tag.
Dana Lasowski in the 20 car.
Slide job?
I don't think we got a cushion.
Not exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like Lasowski was going up a little bit. I believe Kinzer was maybe actually coming down just a little bit.
Well, if he hadn't been the caution, the number 2 at Bourdais would have been, because he went so high in turn number 4. I don't know how he missed the fence. As you look back from Bourdais, he stuffed it hard into 3 and really climbed the hill in 4.
And Mike, that's kind of like what started the log jam. As he went up the racetrack, a lot of the drivers were checking up, trying to give him some room to get back up underneath him. And I believe that's probably what helped trigger this whole mess.
Now, a change was made to the air pressure in the tires that were put on these cars, and could some of the drivers not as familiar with racing stock cars not have exactly known what the car would do on this first lap? We saw Pappas climb the hill, Bourdais get way up out of the groove, and Lasowski and Kinzer make contact.
I think so. When you take a look at this, as you see these cars go off in the corner, not a lot of grip. We see the 2 car going up the racetrack, but then Lasowski, again, he's making a run down low. Kinzer's trying to keep out of the Pruitt's car, and contact is made.
Right, look at the 11. He's trying to stay off Pruitt, so he's got a lift. And Lasowski, you're right, he's got a full head of steam.
In your car coming off turn 4, it's going to go to the outside of the racetrack.
But Kinzer did a really nice job right there, keeping that car out of the wall, regaining control, and coming down, getting 4 brand new Goodyears so he can continue.
So no one's fault, really. But Steve Kinzer, the victim of circumstance. And we'll revert to the last completed lap for our restart order. Tomorrow on Speed, Nextel Cup final practice and Busch Pole qualifying. Might be the most important practice session of the season for a lot of Nextel Cup teams, and you'll see it live here on Speed at 2:30. Then at 4:30, pull those belts up tight. Where'd they get that line?
I don't know.
A 2-lap run for the pole, Busch Pole qualifying here on Speed.
You know, when we have a caution, we talked about that cautions do not count. What they do, they go back to the last completed lap where the cars were scored. Mark Martin made that pass, but it was after they crossed the start-finish line, so he's now back in 3rd. So pretty much we're going to have the way that they restarted back a couple laps ago.
And let's see right now if Elio Castroneves can do a little bit better job in this restart.
This is definitely, he's given a mulligan here.
And he's also got heat in the tires now, guys, so it should help them all a little bit going off into turn 1.
But see, by last year's rule, the leader on the restart had the front row by himself.
So officially just 1 lap was completed. In this second and final segment, we have 29 to go. They waved off the restart. And we'll take 1 more caution lap. Kurt Busch, Elio Castroneves on the front row, Mark Martin, Buddy Rice, Martin Truex, Scott Pruitt, Bourdais, and Lasowski. Then Kenseth, Kinzer, Pappas. Mark Martin running in 3rd. He is the all-time IROC record holder in championships and race victories. He is trying to break the tie and win his 5th championship. He leads the points, started this race last, running 3rd.
Winner at Daytona, and of course finished 2nd at Texas. It looks like he's going to restart on the inside of the 2nd row, which is where he did a while ago. Definitely Castroneves is staying up there beside Kurt Busch on this restart, unlike the last one.
Yeah, Mark muscled him up the track in turn 1 a little on the last one, but Busch and Martin get through the gearbox quickest.
Castroneves still did not get a very good restart. Mark Martin's going to take 2nd spot away from him. Truex in the 8th trying to take 3rd. They've got Castroneves kicked up to the high side now.
And here comes Bourdais in the number 2. 2nd in points. 3 wide into the corner at the back of the field. Wow.
Well, Castroneves almost came down on Bourdais through turn 3 and 4. Now they're drag racing up the front stretch here for 4th space.
That was almost too close.
Castroneves that time got a good run up in the 2nd groove through 1 and 2. He takes the 4th spot away.
And here comes Buddy Rice on the inside of Bourdais into turn 3. Oh, and up the racetrack, both cars.
Yep, 8 wheels and 4 versus 4.
Bourdais is still, he got into the wall that time. We thought he was going to gather it up. He definitely got into the outside wall through 3 and 4. But what happens when you get that high up the racetrack, you pick up a lot of marbles and you can't control the race car.
And now it's Rice who's kicked to the high side. Kenseth goes by. Here comes Kinzer in the 11. And Bourdais will want another shot at him.
But like you said, Larry, I think the same thing happened to Buddy Rice. He got stuff on his tires, but he's back on the inside right now. Kenseth. Buddy Rice has got a strong race car, guys.
This is a battle for 6 right now. See, Bourdais in the 2 almost gathers it up and just gets against the safer barrier there right in the middle of turn 4.
He just Darlington striped it. He never left.
He never left. A nice job of driving.
Meanwhile, Kurt Busch in the 97 car is beating Mark Martin in the 6 by a 10th a lap as we still have this battle for 3rd, looking at Martin Truex Jr. there in the 8 car, looking out of Helio Castroneves in the 03 running in 4th.
Castroneves' lap times are faster, but he's got to find a way around Truex to have a chance at the 2 Nextel Cuppers out front.
And we talked about it earlier right now with Truex Jr. running in 3rd, who's 3rd in the points, and Bourdais back in 9th. He could make a pretty good run to go to 2nd in points here.
As we're looking at the bumper cam a second ago, Mark Truex is dragging something down in the corner. See the sparks coming out underneath that number 8 car as he enters the corner and through the corner.
And just remember, he was involved in that crash at the very beginning of the race. There you see Kurt Busch in the 97 car. He would make quite a move in the points. Remember, he came in here 9th in points. 27 behind Mark Martin. Big gain if things stay like they are.
1 race to go, and that'll come in Atlanta this fall. 0.8 of a second, that's the difference, Busch to Martin, and it's a full second then back to Truex, who has a mirror full of Helio Castroneves. Now the race at Atlanta, the round 4 will be run on Saturday, October 29th, 1:30 Eastern, and it'll be live right here on Speed that Saturday afternoon.
Wide open around that 1.5-mile racetrack.
Guys, we haven't said a whole lot about him, but back in 4th place right now, the man who started on the pole tonight, Scott Pruitt. He's kind of come through this practice session or this pit stop, and he's hanging in there right there. I'm sorry, 5th place right now, but he's been having some pretty good lap times. And we take a look right there. Castroneves on the outside of Martin Truex.
He figured it out. Got a good run off turn number 4. Ooh, slides a little bit there in 2, trying to put the power down. And Truex will have a shot to get 3rd place back.
He had been trying it on the low side. It wasn't working, but he did it on the high side. It's almost like the low groove is working better in 3 and 4. The second groove is working a little better down in 1 and 2. We'll see what happens as they go off into 1 and 2 on this lap. Right now, Castroneves in the 03 just cannot get that good bite off the corner in that second groove.
And Larry, you know who's loving this? Kurt Busch and Mark Martin.
Oh, Castroneves slides around a bit, but a lot of give and take here. Truex is giving Helio plenty of room on the outside. Helio's not trying to crowd him.
I tell you who else is loving it, Scott Pruitt. He was like it. He said, you guys run side by side. I'll get up there and mix it up with you guys.
And here comes Buddy Rice into the picture in that 15 car.
Yeah, Scott Pruitt in the 01, Buddy Rice in the 15. They're telling these guys, you open the door, I guarantee you we'll go through it here as we've got about 17 laps to go.
And not that much further back, Matt Kenseth, Steve Kinser, and Bourdais. There's 3rd place on back right there. 3rd through 9th.
Let's not forget that Matt Kenseth made an extra pit stop to make repairs to his left front fender. So I'm sure he's sitting there for saying, guys, please race hard together like that so I can get in the game.
Because he restarted back in 11th.
Meanwhile, up front, Mark Martin has closed to within 3 car lengths of his Roush Racing teammate in Nextel Cup,
and
Kurt
he just
Busch.
ran his fastest lap of the night on lap 74, Mark Martin did, and running his teammate down.
But Mark Martin is notorious for saving a little something at the beginning to have it near the end.
Is that how you win all those championships and win all these IROC races?
I'd say that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, he's been about a 10th of a lap quicker than Kurt Busch the last 3 or 4 laps, and he is definitely reeling him in as we've got 14 laps to go.
But Larry, we've said it many, many times. Catching him's one thing, passing him's another.
That's going to be a challenge.
Bourdais has passed Kinser for 9th, but the action is right here on point, where Kurt Busch is trying to hold back Mark Martin, and Busch trying to get the win that was denied him in Texas.
I think if Mark is going to pass him, it'll have to be on the outside. Kurt Busch in the 97 is not going to give that bottom up.
But you wonder, guys, when Mark gets there, yeah, he may try him, but is he going to be big picture racing?
But Kurt Busch just ran the fastest lap that he's ran this entire race here on lap 77.
And he's going to need to. Now, last time by, Castroneves up alongside. Still a good race here. 4 cars in it. And looks like Elio's getting on the power so early. The car's trying to push up the racetrack in 2.
I think he's getting a little bit impatient right now, Mike. He's got a good race car, but I think he's getting a little bit frustrated. He can't quite get clear of Mark Truex, and all that's doing is making him mad.
Well, he's definitely, I think, maybe overdriving the entrance of the corner. That's one thing that Max Pappa said was very tough for him to figure out, not overdriving the entrance of the corner.
10 to go this time by. And Mark Martin is there.
He is definitely turning the heat up on Kurt Busch in that 97 car. Yeah, lap 80, 10 to go. Mark Martin in the 6 just ran his fastest lap of the race.
Well, they both just ran their fastest laps, Larry. They just seem like they get faster and faster. They just keep pushing one another to go harder and harder around this racetrack.
Matt Kenseth and Danny Lasowski also on that lap ran their personal best of this race. So the track is getting quicker.
And the laps are winding down.
And, well, sounds like a script. And who can best take advantage?
Mark Martin keeps taking a little bit of a peek to the inside off turn 4, but Kurt Busch keeps that car wound up on the high side.
Now this looks like Noah's Ark, 2x2x2, 5th place, side by side, Buddy Rice, Scott Pruitt, and the outside prevails.
A little bit of contact looked like to me between that 15 and 01. Now it looks like Buddy Rice may be getting ready to make a run on the outside.
And just remember, Scott Pruitt in the 01, he just wants to see the checkered flag of this race after crashing in the first 2.
3 pairs of cars racing for 1st, 3rd, and 5th. It'll be 6 to go when they come around to the front stretch, and Mark Martin keeps stalking Kurt Busch for the lead.
But with 1 race to go, especially with Bourdais back in 8th position, finishing 2nd. I know he wants to win this race tonight. That'd be a pretty big points night with 1 race to go for Mark Martin. Oh, he's right on the rear bumper. 5 to go this time.
But Larry, you know in this series, no point lead is safe enough. 5 to go. Take chances.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Castroneves. Looks like he's getting ready to make a chance run right on the inside of Mark Truex. Oh, contact.
Goodbye.
Around goes the 8 car. Elio gets it back under the back around. He goes. Wow.
Whoa, whoa, slow down, slow down. Caution laps don't count.
Now, what this does, here with 5 laps to go, it's going to put Kurt Busch and Mark Martin probably on the front row, side by side.
We were talking earlier about getting a little bit impatient, and I think Helio Castroneves was just saying, laps are running out, I've got to go, and he just tried to force the issue.
Jeff, what I think we'll see, Elio was there going into the corner. He had the right entry. He had the line. He was right there. But his problem, just as it's been, is in the transition from braking to throttle. What I think you'll see when he gets to turn 2 is where trouble develops. Nope, they didn't get to turn 2, did they?
No, it looked like Martin decided he was going to come on down, and Elio was there, and contact was made.
I'm not sure Helio Castroneves could have went much lower on the racetrack in the 03.
Now watch Elio versus the yellow line. Well, he didn't push up, did he?
No, he pretty much held his line, it looked like to me. And again, that's when you go back and think, there's no spotters. It's all up to the drivers.
Buddy Rice just getting by.
And it's hard to tell a driver, lift out of the throttle. Laps don't count anymore, because the first thing that driver wants to do is clear that wreck. Well, a tough break for Helio Castroneves, because if that car is damaged too badly to continue and it looks like he's climbing out, he will get an 11th place finish here in Richmond. 5 laps to go. Don't go away. Laps to go in round 3 of Crown Royal IROC 29. If you've tuned in for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, you can wait patiently, as Rick Allen and Phil Parsons are doing behind us, to come in, don the headsets with Michael Waltrip. Next time that door opens, it should be Michael Waltrip. And with Ray and Wendy, they'll give you all the action of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series next, live from Richmond. But first, 5 laps to go. Double file restarts, as they all are now. Advantage Kurt Busch or advantage Mark Martin on this restart?
Kurt Busch, because Mark Martin does not like being on the outside to begin with.
But what these guys have to do, they have to make sure they do not spin those tires on this restart. Kurt Busch has to make sure he does not. Mark Martin as well. And how about our man sitting back there behind Kurt Busch in that 01 car, Scott Pruitt? He chose the inside line behind Kurt Busch in the 97.
Buddy Rice on the outside, then Matt Kenseth, 17, the 2 of Sebastian Bourdais, who came in here second in points. 1 round to go, and you'll see it at Atlanta here on speed. Okay, 5 laps to go to settle it all. Busch gets the jump.
He gets a great restart, but Mark Martin's going to pull back up beside him. Let's see if Mark Martin can make it happen on the high side in 1 and 2.
Mark drives it in there deep, guys.
It's going to be a drag race down the back stretch. Whoever wins this drag race could win this race.
They're dead even right now, Larry.
Good move by Pruitt for 3rd, but the battle is side by side, fender to fender, right at the front, and we've got Kinzer around.
And we have caution again.
Oh, shucks. Steve Kinzer didn't see if there was contact right in front of the Fitch inertia safety barriers designed by race car engineer John Fitch up in Connecticut. They protect a lot of abutments on the highways and racetracks as well.
Oops. Looks to me like he may have just caught that apron going into turn 3, Larry. We've seen that before a couple times. You get down a little too low, it's easy to unload and de-wedge the car and randomly go.
Yeah, I mean, this track, we call it a flat track. It has 14 degrees of banking. That apron is significantly less degrees than the banking of the racetrack.
So we'll restart, and the scoreboard again shows 5 to go. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series coming up next, live on speed. David Starr, Mike Skinner on the front row. You see on the back of these cars where it says Crown Royal Relief. The Crown Royal folks are also involved in the Hurricane Katrina relief effort. They're going to auction off a custom-made chopper motorcycle on eBay beginning September 19th. Look for that one and bid big, because all the funds raised go for hurricane relief.
Larry, why don't you buy that and I'll teach you how to ride it?
Oh, I'll buy it and let somebody else ride it. How about that?
That'll work.
Your cell phone's ringing. It's your son, Brandon.
Yeah, you need to give him something to win that track championship down at Lowe's Motor Speedway the other night.
I am. An opportunity to drive again next year.
Spoken like a car owner.
Well, here we go again. Kurt Busch in the 97 car chooses the lower lane. Mark Martin in the 6 chooses the upper lane, and you have Scott Pruitt in the 01 right behind Kurt Busch.
Now, to me, after you've had an opportunity to see what your competitor's doing the first time, do you change your strategy a little bit here for the second restart?
On restarts, passing can occur the instant the flag waves. You don't have to wait until you cross the line, and unlike NASCAR, you don't have to pass just to the outside. When the green waves, every man for himself.
And at first, it looked like Mark lagged back just a little bit, but then he got a really good run up on the straightaway on that last restart.
5 laps to go once again. Round 3, Crown Royal IROC 29. Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, bang, Matt Kenseth from the inside of the 3rd row gets a good jump. Bourdais in the 2 comes down to the bottom.
Look out for Buddy Rice.
Covers the spot.
Here we go again, side by side, off turn 2. Looks like Kurt Busch got a little better run in that 97 car, but I guarantee you Mark will drive it down into turn 3 this time.
The driver who got the best run was 17, Matt Kenseth. He's come from 7th to 4th.
Mark got a good run off turn 4 that time. Can he win the battle into turn 1? We've got 4 to go.
Busch shoves it in there, deeper than Mark.
And Mark did not get a good bite off turn 2 that time. And meanwhile, Buddy Rice in the 15 has moved up into the 3rd spot.
With Kenseth 4th and Bourdais fighting Pruitt for 5th.
Side by side off of turn 4 right there. Bourdais gets a little bit loose underneath Pruitt.
And Truex in the 8 car trying to take advantage of that. He pulls to the inside of Bourdais. 3 to go.
Well, you don't dare make even a little mistake here. Somebody will take your spot.
If you have to get out of that throttle, someone's going to take advantage of it.
So did Mark not get a good run off too, or with Kurt in front, did he
got
say
trouble right there again? Bourdais going to be around off of turn 4 into that inside wall.
And the caution is out again, so Mark Martin will get another opportunity.
Now, from what we've seen with Bobby Hamilton, the front ends of these cars cannot take a whole lot of damage.
And remember, Bourdais came in here 2nd in the points.
Well, I can tell by the damage right now, guys, his night is done.
Yeah, that nose is going to be recycled, not raced.
Just Bourdais just walking up the racetrack, got loose down there in turn 3 and 4. This somewhat all started down in turn 1 and 2, continued down the backstretch. Hard in the inside wall.
That's what it looks out in front of that bumper cam, guys.
Yeah, you know what the lifespan of a front bumper cam around here is?
Not too long.
88 laps.
Had a great race going. And trying to stay inside and off of Martin Truex, goes around and meets the inside front stretch wall. But as that happened, I was asking you, do you think Mark didn't get a good run off turn 2 when Kurt started to clear him, or did you say let's get in line and find another time?
I think it was another time. I think that's big picture racing right there by the veteran Mark Martin. He knew that Kurt Busch was going to come across his nose and something had to give, and he said, it's going to be me. I'm thinking about $1 million. I'll give you 1,000,000 reasons to lift right now.
And now Buddy Rice in the 15, Matt Kenseth in the 17, they'll be licking their chops because they'll be up there in that 2nd row now on this restart.
Coming up next, live on Speed, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. But we have 2 laps to go in round 3 of Crown Royal IROC 29. Sebastian Bourdais came in here 2nd in points. The winner at Texas, the Champ Car point leader and defending series champion, and had a great time and a great run in his first ever short track oval race in a full-bodied stock car type automobile.
And he struggled at the beginning of this race, but I think he was learning rapidly every lap.
I thought he got a very good education, and right there toward the end, he was making a pretty good run to try to keep that 2nd place points position.
Well, going into turn 1, Kurt Busch and Mark Martin look pretty evenly matched. Is Mark's best chance going to come when they drop the flag or when they try to get off turn 2 on these first of 2 laps?
I think if Mark can hold that position as we're looking at right now, off of turn 2, we'll see a drag race down in the 3 and 4 of these final few laps. But if Kurt can beat him into turn 1, I think he's going to give the ground and be willing to fall in there and follow him, just like we saw the lap before, Mike.
Yeah, Mark can't jump him, but he's got to stay with him.
The best lap of each driver, only 3/100ths of a second difference. Busch to the advantage on the restart, and here comes Martin on the high side.
And I guarantee he'll drive it down into turn 1 right here. See Matt Kenseth in the 17 trying to take that 3rd position away.
They're side by side, Larry.
Mark got a good run off turn 2 that time. They'll be coming to the white flag this time.
The Roush-Cotiers 1, 2, 3, then Buddy Rice, Scott Pruitt, and Martin Truex. Martin is there.
One to go.
White flag. You tell me who led it. I have no idea.
Too close to call.
Martin led it.
Busch with a little advantage, half a car length. Mark comes
charges back, baby. He's charging back.
This just looks just like the last lap. Who's going to get the best run through 3 and 4? Come to take the checker flag. Looks like Mark's going to
trying to
pin
hold him down. He's pinning him down.
Martin. Whoa. Now on our electronic scoring, We have the time to the thousandth of a second, the difference that they crossed the line, and the difference is .000.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. We've seen some close ones.
2 laps in a row. Less than a thousandth of a second separated them. You want equal? How equal can it get?
Call it, Larry.
Boy.
Well,
It's close. It's close.
Right there, it looked like the 6 car by just a little bit.
Wow.
But you got to believe, guys, 3 restarts. The veteran Mark Martin finally figured out, this is what I've got to do if I want to win it, and he was able to do it.
His 13th career IROC win continues to set the precedent for everyone who's ever competed in this series. That is the record. He's trying to chase his 5th IROC championship. That too would be a record.
Matt Yoakum said at the beginning of this program, he started at the back and has won 3 races. Well, guys, now it's 4.
.021 seconds. That makes it third.
What a race.
Matt, he won it by less than a thousandth of a second and was ahead with the white flag by less than a thousandth of a second. How close for a short track race could you ever get?
Unbelievable. First IROC start on a short track here at Richmond, goes to victory lane. Texas started 12th, finished 2nd. And here at Richmond, 12th to victory lane. Mark, you had several shots to size him up. Did you learn anything that you put forth to pass him?
I didn't want to lose a spot to Rice because, you know, really I'm counting points. And the restart before that, I raced him on the outside, and then I said, I've got room behind him. Let me get in and just get these points. But I knew with Rice behind me on the last one, I had to go. So I thought if we stayed side by side that I didn't think I could beat him. I'll just put it that way. I tried to leave him enough room to race, but I just had to go. And I tell you what, I can't believe it. I can't believe I pulled it off. Kurt Busch is an incredible driver. He raced me hard. He rubbed me just a little bit, and he lacked about an inch getting it done, I guess. Kurt's a great guy to race with, and it's just awesome.
Mike Joyce at electronic scoring had it at 0.00000.
Man, I tell you, if the start-finish line was a foot further down, he would have been ahead. He was coming back, you know. But I had to go on the outside because, racing Rice for that $1 million, man.
One more race to the $1 million.
One more. We're sitting good, man. This is fun. I just can't thank IROC and everybody, Crown Royal and Jay Signori and all this for giving me the opportunity to do this. This is racing IROC cars has been the highlight of my career.
What an incredible finish. Scoring has amended the computer at the white flag lap. It was zeros all the way across, and the final margin of victory officially is .021 seconds. So that's about a fender width. We wanted an incredible short track race. We got one.
I know they got strung out a little bit there in the middle of the race, but 4 fresh tires for everyone, a few cautions, and you see the finish we had.
And there was hardly a position that was not contested in those last couple of laps.
Guys, I'm not speechless. I'm just out of breath watching these 2 fantastic, finish or runs right now with the last few laps. I mean, Mark and Kurt Busch, it's just awesome right there to take a look at the point standings.
And the Roush-Gutierrez will lead this league. Mark has a 27-point bulge on both Matt Kenseth and Kurt Busch, and only 1 more point on Truex than Rice and Bourdais.
And that tie right there for second, it means nothing.
No.
Remember, $1 million for the winner, everyone else $80,000 apiece.
Well, Kurt Busch, it couldn't have been much closer. He's still shaking his head over it. Talking with Ricky Craven. Here's Matt.
Kurt, do you believe that finish?
I was just looking at a ghost of racing past. Ricky Craven, I lost again by a closest of margins. Something I'll remember forever. Racing Mark Martin in IROC, supposed to be his last year of competition. Just phenomenal.
I mean, lap after lap, side by side.
I knew it was going to come down to that. I mean, I had a good run early in the race. I thought I saved enough tire for the end, and he got a great run off of turn 2. and that gave him momentum down the back straightaway to control me in turn 3. He pinched me down a little bit, car got a little wiggly, and I was like, man, I'm just standing on it. I don't care if I drive through his right side door. But I knew I wouldn't get up to him because cars just don't need all that racetrack. Man, I can't believe I lost, but that's fun racing like that. Mark has done a great job with these cars in the past. He is the guy to beat when you're racing IROC. So, you know, if I have a chance to win this championship, I'm going to jump in with Crown Royal and their relief program and donate all my money. It's tough right now finishing second, though. It was fun.
Finished second, but a big points night for Kurt Busch. Mike?
And I can't believe Ricky Craven was standing there, because it was Craven that beat Kurt Busch at Darlington, a race we called on Fox a year ago, by thousandths of a second in a finish that was just that close.
And I can't help but go back to Daytona last year when Kurt Busch finished second to Ryan Newman. Maybe not that close, but pretty close.
From Atlanta Motor Speedway, Sunday, October 29th, we'll be live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time with the final event in Crown Royal IROC 29. Well, a lot of smiles at the start, but then a good bit of calamity and some good, hard-fought, hard, white-knuckle short-track racing. And in the end, the closest of finishes, another less than a tenth of a second margin of victory as Mark Martin goes to victory lane at Richmond.